Recently, I posted a video demonstrating on how to use the Waves API 550A and 550B. Today, though, we're going to be looking at its cousin, the API 560. But before we do that, like we always do, let's first go ahead and roll that intro. The Waves API 560 takes everything that we love about the API sound and puts it into a graphic EQ format. In fact, if we go ahead and compare the differences between the 560 and the 550 series, you'll notice that we went ahead and replaced the discrete bands that we're most commonly familiar with, again, the graphic EQ. But what I want to go ahead and do is load up a Pro Tools session with some drums and show you how to properly use the 560, and let's go ahead and listen to some audio examples of what it can do. Let's do that next. All right, so I have the 560 loaded up in front of us, and the first thing I want to do is go over the different controls and parameters that we have available when using this EQ. In fact, when you look at this EQ, it's a fairly simple design. It's a 10-band EQ that allows us to manipulate up to 10 different frequencies. Those frequencies, by the way, starting from the bottom, is going to be 31 Hertz, 63, 125, 250, 500, 1K, 2K, 4K, 8K, and lastly 16K. So it gives us enough different frequencies to work with when we want to go ahead and carve our sound. Now, let's say if you want to go ahead and start manipulating one of these frequencies, what do we do here? Well, we do have these sliders here for each one of these frequencies, and let's go ahead and pick 2K. Let's say we want to go ahead and do a cut here. All we need to do is move the slider to the left, and you can go ahead and see that cut happening here inside of QClone. Now, if we want to go ahead and boost it though, we'll go ahead and move it into the other direction. It's as simple as that. The next parameter I want to go ahead and take a look at is going to be this EQ in. Now, let's say we made a couple different changes to our EQ here. Let's just make some on the fly. Okay, let's say that this is going to be our changes here. And we want to go ahead and disable this. We want to go ahead and hear what the original sound sounds like compared to our changes that we made. If we go ahead and click this, it'll actually bypass the EQ section. So that's good to know. So that way we can go ahead and on the fly make those changes. The next thing I want to look at is going to be this polarity switch. When we engage it, it'll actually flip the polarity of your signal. So probably going to be a feature that you don't use that often, but it is nice to see that it is included in this plugin. Okay, next we do have this analog on and off switch. When we engage it, it actually puts noise into your signal change. Though it's subtle, Waves includes this so that way if you wanted to have more of an authentic analog modeling type sound, you can have it there for you. However, in most cases, most people don't use this, so by default, it's left off. Lastly, we do have our output section, which we've, of course, can go ahead and adjust the output for our signal after we've made our changes. And that's it. That's all the parameters. But now let's go ahead and take a listen to what this sounds like on some drums. All right, so I have our drums loaded up. The first thing I want to go ahead and do is actually listen to what our drums sound like without the API EQ, without any adjustments made. So let's go ahead and take a listen to what this sounds like now. Okay, they sound good, they sound decent. Let's go ahead and now loop this, and we'll go ahead and make changes to the API 560 and see what kind of different sound we can come up with. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Awesome. I'm pretty happy with that sound. It gives it a little bit more aggression. It sounds more direct and upfront, especially with the changes that we made on the high end. In fact, let's go ahead and look at those changes. So at 16K, I did plus 1 dB. At 8K, I left it alone. At 4K, we did plus 2 dB. At 2K, just 1 dB of gain. At 1K, we went ahead and removed 1 dB. At 500, we did 2.5 dB of gain. And then lastly, it looks like I left these alone, but at 31 hertz, we went ahead and actually cut it by 1 dB. And I think it sounds pretty good. Now, another thing I want to go ahead and take a moment to talk about are what are some of the other applications you can use this EQ for. Obviously, I'm demonstrating that you can use it on a drum bus, but there's several different other types of applications. You could use these on the individual shells of a drum. You could use this on guitar. It sounds great on guitar. I've used it personally before on that. And another area where I've seen it used on before, but I personally haven't used it and I maybe wouldn't recommend it, but again, try it out, see how it works for you, is you can put this on your master bus. And I've seen some people use this kind of like a mastering EQ. Again, I think there are other mastering EQs that I think could be better than using this, but again, try it out and see how you like it. All right, now with that being said, let's go ahead and jump over to our closing thoughts. All right, so the API 560 EQ, what did you think about it? Did you like the way it sounded on those drums? Now, if you do have this EQ or the hardware version of this, what applications have you used it on? Let me know down in the comment section below. Now, if you did like this video and you found it helpful and valuable, I would deeply appreciate it if you would consider subscribing and leaving a like. It does help this channel grow. Also, if you're looking for similar content like this, again, I have made a tutorial on how to use the 550A and the 550B if you haven't seen that already. And with that being said, I deeply appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. It means a lot. Again, I hope that you've enjoyed it. And in the meantime, like always, happy mixing.